Thank you to Warcraft Rumble for sponsoring today's video. There are currently 80 brawlers inside of Brawl Stars, with each one having a different personality and playstyle. Today we will explain each and every one, from their backstories to what they do and even tips to master each one. Starting with where it all begins, Shelly. Shelly is a tough woman who's a pro at using the shotgun and teaching you how to play the game, though she's a bit jealous of Colt stealing all of the glory. Both her attack and super make use of her shotgun, which deals massive damage at close range, though her super can knock back enemies. Her knockback is incredibly useful when scoring in Brawl Ball. Simply kick the ball into her enemy and then super them immediately after for a free goal, making use of those few frames where the brawler ceases to exist. Nita. Nita is a young girl known for her mischief and being way too loud. Stop screaming! She shoots a shockwave with her main attack and throws her baby bear Bruce with her super, who's tanky but deals moderately low damage. Bruce is mainly used to tank damage or decimate a heist safe with his star power. Interestingly enough, you can shoot around walls with her attack. Colt. Colt is a gunslinger who's absolutely obsessed with how he looks. I mean, I would have a crush on him too if I wasn't committed to El Primo. His attack and super are very straightforward. Literally, just shooting in a straight line, though his super can break walls. Despite this, his kit is extremely solid for long-range encounters and works great paired with other long-range brawlers too. You might have noticed that most of these early brawlers might not have the most complex skill sets, but later on they'll become way more advanced. Bull. Bull is just a big guy, but he has a kind heart. He also owns a diner. Bull's Diner. It's very creative. Just like Shelly, he excels at close range encounters, having one of the highest DPSs in the game. His super is really good for getting up close to actually get those high damage numbers, though it can sometimes prove to be challenging depending on the meta. Just be sure to be mindful when using a super, since it can destroy cover that you might need to stay safe. Brock. Brock is a video game junkie who plays just way too many video games. I guarantee he's played the new Siege mode in Warcraft Rumble. Wait, you don't know about Stormwind? After reaching level 90 sigils, you unlock Siege, a brand new cooperative PvE mode where you and a guildmate use 3 of your best armies and leaders to defeat 3 massive bosses. You and your guildmate will work together to defeat the first boss, General Marcus Jonathan. You'll need a strategy to defeat him though, because he is really strong. I'd recommend leveling your leaders up to at least level 20 and playing with a teammate that will have your back no matter what. Doing all of that is so worth it, since you can earn 200 Valor, which allows you to upgrade a gold army slot to diamond, giving your mini 4 bonus levels. Side note? That's pretty OP. After defeating General Marcus Jonathan, your leader is on lockout, meaning you have to use 2 new leaders for the remaining 2 bosses. If you're able to defeat all 3 bosses, you can earn a wildcard slot, which takes over slot 3 in any army of your choosing to give that unit extra level benefits regardless of any traits. Thank you to Warcraft Rumble for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to my man Brock. Brock is strapped up with a massive rocket launcher. He deals huge damage at long range despite being a squishy guy. His super rains down a ton more rockets which break walls and can clear an area really easily. Just like Colt, he's great at long range, but unlike Colt, he can hold his own closer range as well with rocket laces. Primo. El Primo is the cousin of Brawl Stars. Literally, no one's ever seen his face, but it's probably for the better since he's so handsome as is. Primo punches in a line in front of him for his basic attack, while his super lets him throw his massive oily body onto whoever he wants. With Suplex Supplement, he can throw enemy brawlers right onto your teammates whether they want it or not. Barley. Barley is a robotic bartender with a delicious mustache who is overly sensitive about how clean his bar is. His basic attack throws a bottle of mysterious liquid or something that leaves a damaging puddle on the ground. His super is just this, but 5 times over. That's really it. You can get him for free by adding your Supercell ID, and you get a skin too, but it's kinda garbage. Poco. Poco is a guy who died from playing some fire guitar. His basic attack is this wave of music that somehow deals damage. Either it's so good they die, or it's so garbage they die. His super is the same thing, only bigger, and it heals instead of damages. And my best Poco tip is to use the capo in solo showdown. Trust me. Rosa. Rosa is a plant boxing botanist. For her basic attack, she fires 3 waves of 3 punches similar to Primo or Kit or something. Her super is a very strong shield which can tank a ton of damage. You can use her shield in almost any scenario, but it works really well when walking the ball into Brawl Ball. Jessie. Jessie is a child engineer who loves to build and tinker. Her basic attack is an energy shot that bounces between opponents, up to 3 times, getting weaker each hit. Her super places a turret that shoots little projectiles at opponents at a quick rate. Her second star power and gadget are really good in Heist. The other ones are pretty good all around for other modes. Dynamite. Dynamite is a crazy old man obsessed with explosives with a little canary under his hat. His basic attack throws 2 sticks of dynamite that deal 1600 damage each. The super is one big, like a really big barrel of TNT and assorted explosives. Use the Dynajump star power to throw attacks at enemies, then jump away to safety. Tick. Tick is a robotic bomb who is also a pirate? That seems safe. His basic attack is a lob shot that splits into 3 bombs that are way too strong and way too annoying. His super is him shooting his head off his body, and then it chases you down, never stopping unless you deal with it. Kinda like my rent payment for this month. One more week, please. Use the mines to cut off pathways that your opponents can use for flanks and such. 8-bit. 8-bit is a living arcade machine that hates the players that play with him. His basic attack is like Colt, but with more, stronger shots. His super is a turret that buffs your team's damage in the radius. Place your turret behind cover, but still allow it to reach your teammates. Rico. Rico is a gumball machine that hooked up with both a vending machine and Piper. I don't even know. His basic attack is also like Colt's, but with a twist. The balls are bouncy. They can bounce off walls, and after each bounce, they travel further. His super is just his base attack, but it pierces and has more range. It also bounces too, if you can figure that out. Always remember, say it with me, if you like Rico, you like balls. Daryl. Daryl is a barrel robot that is also a pirate, like Tick. His attack is 2 shotgun attacks in relative succession. When he uses his super, he rolls like a little kid down grass into a busy highway, dealing damage and knocking people back. His super automatically charges, so use that to your advantage. Penny. Penny is another pirate, but is more of the leader, the captain you could say. Her basic attack is a bag of money that she shoots that splits into 3 sets of coins. She is so loaded! Her super is a turret that lobs fiery projectiles that leaves a burning area on the ground, kind of like what Brock does. You can take out huge clumps of players with their basic attack if they're all clumped up. Carl. Carl is a nerdy miner with his big goggles. Those are definitely glasses, Carl. You're not fooling anyone. His basic attack is a pickaxe he throws that pierces brawlers, and it comes back to him like a boomerang. His super makes him spin around very fast, increasing his speed. If you get next to people, you deal tons of damage. You can throw your attack, then move behind a wall, and it will still come back through the wall. Jackie. Jackie is a foul-mouthed lady who brutally murders people with her jackhammer. Her basic attack is a radial attack that deals high damage. Her super is a big circle that pulls enemies into 1 point. Make sure you know your matchups. Base Jackie can almost never beat a Shelly or a Primo. Gus. Gus is a little kid who's dead. His basic attack is a balloon that shoots forward, charging his spirit meter. If this is full, his next attack that hits will leave a ghost that heals teammates who pick it up. His super shoots a shield onto him or one of his teammates that knocks people back when it deploys. Similar to Shelly, use the shield knockback to help scoring in Brawl. Bo. Bo is an archer who is one with nature, and yet uses a plastic bow from a gift shop. Interestingly, he also creates his own explosives from toys at the Star Park gift shop. That is wild and definitely not legal. His basic attack shoots 3 explosive arrows, don't forget he made them himself, and his super lobs 3 mines that also explode a bit after someone steps on them. Don't forget he probably made those himself too. Make sure to move to the left of Bo to condense all of your shots, and the right of him to spread them out. Ems. Ems is a social media obsessed mommy who clearly has a crush on Poco. Her basic attack is a spray of toxic hairspray. A hairspray. Her super is a huge circle of damage and slowing. Your attack has more total damage the further away targets are. Stu. Stu is a robot that clearly has no regard for his health and clearly has no mental stability. Like me. Stu's basic attack is 2 fireworks that instantly charge your super, even with just 1 projectile. His super is a small dash that leaves fire damaging fire that also charges your super for some reason. If you use your super right before an attack hits, you can do a double super, which is doubly cool. Piper. Piper is a baker who somehow makes grenades in an oven. She and Bo are very similar. Her basic attack is just an actual bullet shot out of a pink umbrella that deals more damage the farther it travels. Her super makes her jump in the air and drop grenades onto the ground, which makes it really easy for escaping tight situations. One important tip is always hit your shots. If you don't, you're going to get absolutely flamed by your teammates. Pam. Pam is Jesse's mom and probably neglects her child daily. Her basic attack is a machine gun shooting bolts. Her super is just 8-bit's turret, but instead of damaging buff, it's healing. Her basic attack shoots 5 in the middle and 2 on each side, so it's actually not random. Frank. Frank is a big boy monster with a huge personality, and a huge hammer too, I guess. Frank's basic attack is a hammer that slams down, making a large shockwave after a short delay. His super is the same thing with more delay, but it breaks walls, stuns, and is bigger. Pro tip, don't use it. Make sure to have great positioning when doing any move. Bibi. Bibi is a fierce woman with a tough persona, but a nerdy inside. She goes around with her best friend. Wait, am I reading this right? Mr. Bat, the baseball bat. I love her anyways. BB's basic attack is a large metal bat that she whacks into the side of people's heads. This has a delay like Frank's, but it's much shorter. If you have all of your ammo and you wait a bit, your next attack will knock back. Her super is a bouncy bubble with a high range that pierces through brawlers. If you knock the enemy back and use her bubble in quick succession, you can hit them twice. If you made it this far in the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and be sure to check out Warcraft Rumble in the description. But let's move on. I'm sorry. B is an entomologist who works with Rosa and loves bees a lot. Her basic attack is a long-range shot, a bee that deals medium damage. But if you hit your basic attack, the next one deals 4,000 damage. That's equivalent to like a Shelly point blank. Her super is a weird shape of beast that slows down opponents and makes shots just a little bit easier to hit. Nani is a robot made by Pam so that she doesn't have to care for her daughter. Her basic attack is 3 shots that moves in this weird formation and it converges into one spot. Each one dealing medium damage, but altogether deal tons of damage. Her super makes you in control of a small kamikaze drone. This thing becomes more slippery to control the farther it moves, and explodes and breaks walls upon contact. You can shoot the outside shots around walls to deal tons of chip damage to enemies, and they're not going to expect it. Edgar is an emo boy with an attitude to match, who I bet has the legs of an Olympic athlete, because for a super he jumps in the air wherever he wants, kinda like Primo. Interestingly, his main attack heals himself when hitting an enemy. To make up for his absurdly high damage at close range, he's super squishy, which is interesting as he has to get up close to deal damage. He's widely regarded as one of the worst brawlers in the game since he can't really hold his own in battles, only in very specific scenarios. Just be very mindful when using him and just be a good player. Griff is quite literally a stingy, cheap, good-for-nothing anthropomorphic cash register. I don't know, man. He shoots 3 rounds of counterfeit coins at his enemies, dealing considerable damage at close and mid-range, while his super throws piercing banknotes that fly back to you like Carl's attack. Don't be afraid to hit someone from far away with a super, since it deals more damage the farther it travels. Grom. Man, bro, I don't even know what Grom's all about. Grom? Who? He throws his buds at enemies with his main attack, and he throws the Grom bomb for his supers. The Grom bomb? The Grom bomb breaks walls. Grom tip. Don't play him. Bonnie. No, not that Bonnie. As part of the stunt trio, she's the younger sister of Janet and the niece of Stu. She's also incredibly annoying. Bonnie has 2 forms. One is the cannon form, which is long range with a very slow movement speed, and a human form, which is short range with a very fast movement speed. You can swap between the 2 with her super. For the first time, where she's like freaking launches herself into the air like at 100 miles an hour into the enemy, and the second she morphs into the cannon. Do note that transforming from one form to another heals her slightly, which is a pretty nice feature. Gale is an old geezer who works for Mr. P's hotel. For his main attack, he blows his snow all over the enemy, while his super deals little damage but pushes enemies back a very long distance. Be sure to always blow your enemies into your teammates. They will thank you, especially if it's like a tick. Colette works for Griff at the Star Park gift shop, where she does something? I don't really know. Her main character trait is that she's obsessed with Spike. Better not be Poop Spike. She is the scariest brawler in the entire game, as her main attack taxes you. That's right, better not commit tax fraud around her. Combo your opponent with 2 main attacks, then a super to guarantee a kill on them. Belle is an outlaw from the Goldarn gang who gave birth to a massive cookie robot. Don't ask questions. Her main attack is a basic long-range projectile that bounces between enemies, and her super marks them, making them take 35% more damage until they're defeated. Nothing can remove the mark, not even Poco's protective tunes or Frank's sick beats. Ash is quite literally a Scottish walking trash can who, interestingly enough, is a nod to the designer himself, Pawchaw. His main mechanic is called Rage, which increases the more damage he takes and the more he attacks. Each stage of Rage gives him a boost to speed, damage, and pure awesomeness. His super throws down a bunch of Roombas which deal little damage, but when connecting to the enemy add a ton of rage. If you're using this star power, try to hit 2 shots with full ammo and then unload your attack on the enemy. This will allow your rage to fill up significantly faster. Lola is a diva who's completely obsessed with herself, kinda like Colt. She's also very attractive. She deals big scattered damage while her super summons a projection of herself which moves as she moves and attacks as she attacks. If it's too close to you, the projection or ego's damage will deal way less damage. If you walk up to a corner, you can freely control her ego while you stay protected behind that wall. Sam is the husband of Belle. Well, in this relationship, he's probably the wife. He has a huge vendetta against robots despite having a child who is a robot. Sam is a melee brawler who punches twice in front of him, though he starts with his super which he can throw out. After that, he deals less damage and moves faster until picking up the knuckles again. Unlike other brawlers, only one star power and gadget are actually viable. The rest are incredibly useless. Mandy. Mandy is a dictator who rules with an iron fist. She's sweet on the outside, but on the inside, she has the personality of an absolute monster. Her basic attack is her shooting candy at you. Yum! Her super is more candy, but it deals high damage and practically has the range of the whole map. You can use your super and knock out a choke point at the start to give you an advantage and maybe take out the entire team at once. Maisie. Maisie doesn't have an arm. She has one of the longest delayed attacks in the entire game, though making up for that is quick firing, strong projectiles. Her super sends a shockwave all around her, knocking enemies back. Make sure to never auto aim with Maisie unless the enemy is slowed or stunned, maybe by her super. She can only effectively auto aim from 1 tile away without anything else. Hank, aka the Prawn Star, aka the Kriller, aka the Prawn, aka the Milkman, rides around a massive tank while he sits there being all itty bitty and cute. His attack is very unique as it charges a bubble that can attack through walls. Isn't that OP? A fully charged attack can deal minimum 4,200 damage at max level. Isn't that insane? Even better, his super shoots off 5 torpedoes in a set formation around him, each dealing 2,800 damage. That sounds like an S tier brawler to me. Make sure to learn how to snipe with his super. It's really easy to line up once you can get it right, and be honest, no one expects it. Pearl. Pearl is the child of Sam and Belle. How Belle gave birth to a cookie oven? I don't know. Pearl has a cool heat bar gimmick that makes her do more damage the more it charges, but using attacks lowers the charge. Pearl's basic attack is just Pam's, but it's cookies, and Pearl's super is the same as Maisie's, but smaller and breaks walls. You can kick the brawl ball into the wall and then the super will go off and then you'll have the ball. Does that make sense? Larry and Lori. Larry and Lori are brothers? It's hard to tell because they're robots. I think they are. Larry is the ticket manager at Star Park and Lori is the security guard. Larry's basic attack is a lobbed clump of tickets that blows up twice. That's awesome. His super spawns Lori, who has a shotgun that shoots 2 waves of attacks. You can use the switch up gadget thing to get out of bad situations and get the fastest run speed in the entire game. Angelo. Angelo is a mosquito from a swamp of love. Oh, I think he's in a relationship with Willow maybe. But he's also gay, so I don't know. Angelo's attack charges up like Hank that shoots forward and deals tons of damage. His super makes a puddle on the ground that hurts opponents and makes your shots deal poison damage. Use your jump gadget to get out of risky situations or put yourself into one to confirm a kill. Mortis. Mortis is a pale, skinny, underfed vampire who'd probably die in the sun, just like Mortis players. His basic attack is a dash forward with his trusty shovel. His super is a large swarm of bats that goes through walls and brawlers. If you hit people with your super, you get HP back. Super cool, eh? Don't try to do trick shots. Never. Tara. Tara is a mystical fortune teller who never shows her face, just like my dad. Her basic attack is 3 cards that pierces through opponents and each one deals its own damage. Her super is a large circle that pulls people in, then explodes with knockback. Make sure to use her support from beyond gadget on the heist safe to deal lots of damage, which is also affected by the pet power gear. Gene. Gene is a purple genie who clearly has something going on with him. His basic attack is like this magic puff of something, I think. But there's more. His basic attack splits at max range like Penny, but if it doesn't hit an opponent. His super pulls someone to you, breaking walls on the way back. You can use the split to hit people around walls. Max. Max is a superhero. She's also addicted to energy drinks. Like everyone at my school. Her basic attack is a burst of 4 whatever these are. She also has 4 ammo, which is kind of nice. Her super is a radio burst that makes anyone in the area super fast. Make sure to get all of your teammates in your super for maximum value. Mr. P. Looks can be deceiving. If you flip him around, you can see a zipper on the back of him, meaning there's probably some little dwarf in there. Kind of like the miner in Warcraft Rumble. Mr. P throws a suitcase with his main attack, which bounces upon reaching the end, allowing him to hit people behind walls. His super drops a spawner which summons nearly infinite porters, though they're weak and don't do much except bug the enemy. If you use his porter reinforcement star power, his porter gains all of its health back, so keep an eye out for when it's low to get health maximum value. Sprout. Sprout is a robot whose only job is to be a pot. He moves around with a plant, like a pot, but he can move. His basic attack is a small blob of plant that can slide around after hitting the ground. His super spawns a wall, which you can't go through, just like a wall. Be warned though, your walls can get broken by spawn shields, so you can't spawn trap your teammates. Byron. Byron is a slimy snake oil salesman. He is one of 4 healers, which his attack can do both in one. If he hits an enemy, it'll deal 3 ticks of damage, while hitting an ally will heal for 3 ticks of health. His super is similar, but throws a one-time damage health potion. Byron is incredibly useless at close range. He doesn't deal nearly enough burst damage to hold his own, making it worse with how squishy he is. Squeak. Squeak is a blob of yummy dog slobber that came from Ruffs. He was a complete accident. Sound familiar? His basic attack is a tennis ball covered in dog drool that sticks onto the ground or an opponent. After a couple seconds, it blows up. His super is lobbed, and when it lands, it splits into 5 small attacks and goes boom. You can always use your basic attacks to put opponents where you want them by blocking walkways. Hey, I'm back. I'm back to tell you to subscribe. Also, check out Warcraft Rumble in the description. Oh, bye-bye. Lou. What do you think Lou is? I'll give you some time. If you answered an anthropomorphic snow cone who works for a phony penguin with a stout old man co-worker, then congratulations, you win a free subscription to the Mayo channel. Lou has a unique mechanic which freezes enemies with his attack and super. Once the dial fills up, the enemy becomes stunned for a second. His super, on the other hand, makes the radius around it like an ice rink and deal the least amount of super damage in the game. Lou rhymes with poo. Ruffs. Ruffs is a dog who is also a colonel. I don't know, man, but Jimbo likes him. Ruff's basic attack is 2 side-by-side lasers that bounce like Rico. His super is a supply drop that, then the drop comes. If you pick up the buff, it drops and you get more damage and higher max HP. Buzz. Like Mr. P, Buzz is an imposter. Apparently, he's a dinosaur, though the zipper says otherwise. Buzz whistles enemies from left to right. His super shoots himself towards the enemies, stunning them for longer the farther he hits them from. He has a special trait where enemies around him will charge his super. His super stun has a radius of 1.5 tiles, so you can use it to stun behind walls. Fang. Fang is a movie ticket theater worker who wishes to be a famous fighter. His basic attack is a kick that deals high damage and throws a shoe that charges the same amount of his super. His super makes him dash, and if he hits an enemy, it will dash to the next closest enemy within range. No skill. Eve. Eve is a flea who's madly in love with a dog who rides around in a spaceship. I don't even know anymore, bro. Eve is one of 2 brawlers which can walk on water. She shoots 3 flea eggs, 1 small, 1 medium, and 1 large, each dealing a different amount of damage. Her super lets her put down an egg which bursts out 3 fleas to poison enemies, brutally murdering her children. When playing Eve, make use of the water best you can. She is one of 2 brawlers who can make use of the water and walk on it, so use that to your advantage. Janet. Janet is 16. She's also the sister of Bonnie and does sick tricks with her jetpack. It's also good to note that she has a rivalry with Melody, which we'll get to later. She charges her attack like Hank or Angelo, but the longer she charges, the longer and narrower her piercing shot becomes. Her super lets her fly, becoming invulnerable from all damage and drops 7 bombs down onto your enemies. It's a pretty broken ability on paper, but it's super slippery to control. Charging doesn't stop you from healing, so whenever possible, be aiming your attack. Otis. Otis is a cool little guy. He's an octopus who makes fire street art underwater. That's so awesome. Otis's basic attack is 3 blobs of paint that fire forward and have slight spread. His super makes you throw his best friend Syl the starfish. If this lands on an opponent, they take damage every second and can't use abilities for a couple seconds. If you use ink refills, you technically have 33% more total super charge. Buster. Buster is so freaking cool. He runs around with a film projector doing who knows what while screaming random movie voice lines. I wanna be him! He's a tank who deals more damage at close range, which can pierce enemies. Buster has a special trait where if allies are close to him, his super will charge up, kinda like the opposite of Buzz or Lily. For his super, he puts up a shield, blocking nearly all incoming damage and shooting it back to them, though it transforms to a little pebble which deals 1200 damage. What's cool is that his shield isn't visible in bushes, so use that to your advantage in surprising enemies checking bushes. Gray. Gray is a mime who doesn't speak. Wait, then why does he say pew? Gray has a very thin shot that moves pretty slow, so it'll be hard to hit. His super is a portal. On the other hand, that's kind of cool. You and your teammates can use that to get around the map easier. The walking cane gadget can shoot through walls, so use that to break walls and get to your opponents easier. RT. RT is a surveillance robot in Star Park who's kind of a creep. Not like me. His basic attack is a thin but fast siren that leaves a mark that makes you and your teammates' attacks deal more damage. His super splits him apart into 2, where then he becomes like Jackie, while both halves of him can take damage and die. Always be sure to look out for where your marks are and how much health your enemies have, because you can use your gadget to finish off kills. Willow. Willow originates from the Swamp of Love with Angela, where I don't really know what she does there actually. Her main attack is similar to Brawler, where she lobs a projectile of goo onto the enemy, poisoning for 3 ticks. Her super lets her control the enemy, allowing her to attack as them for a few seconds, though she stays vulnerable herself. Controlling enemies heals them all the way, so please Please don't control them when they're about to die. Please! Doug. I just love Doug's wiener. It's such a cool super. It makes you revive if you die while it's on you, and you can shoot it through walls onto your teammates. His basic attack is pretty cool too. He just steals Jackie's basic attack and puts a twist on it. If you hit teammates with it, they get healed, and it just deals damage if you hit an enemy. That's Chuck. Once an actual conductor, Chuck is a trained conductor who's probably Mortis's weird cousin or something. He shoots off a puff of steam that deals more damage the closer he is to an enemy. His super allows him to ram into enemies and commit mass vehicular manslaughter by connecting these posts up with one another. He can only have 3 down at a time at base and up to 4 with his star power. It's not visually shown, but he does get a 50% damage reduction when supering. Charlie is a runaway. She joined the circus and got famous. Her main attack is a yo-yo style attack that hits one person then goes back and pierces. Her super puts opponents into a cocoon. In the cocoon, you can't do anything. I hate it. I hate it. If you use her super onto an enemy with like a ton of gems and gem grab, they drop all of them, which is not broken. Trust. Miko. Miko is a monkey. Ooh, ah. Why is that in the script? He's that guy with the boom mic in film productions that like does the audio like above the frame. That is his profession. He's very unique in the fact that no one can attack him whilst he's in the air, which allows him to dodge attacks super easily. For his super, he jumps in the air and lands a few seconds later wherever he moves to, dealing big damage and knocking enemies back. You can disable a Hank or Angelo charge with his ammo stealing star power. Melody. Melody is a K-pop star who rose to stardom with her beautiful losing voice lines and her hatred against Janet. Her main attack deals little damage, but after each consecutive hit, she gains up to 3 little music notes around her which circle around her and deal considerable damage. After fully charging her super, she gets 3 long dashes. Be sure to walk around enemies counterclockwise to make the best use of her note damage. Lily. Lily used to be a normal girl until traveling into the enchanted woods, where a firefly and a carnivorous plant would transform her into whatever this is. Her attack is similar to Fang's, except it pierces and has 1 ammo bar. Her super teleports her behind an enemy, and if it hits someone, it deals damage as well. Use her Shadow Realm gadget in a bush to travel from one area to another area to do surprise attacks. Spike. Spike is the mascot of Brawl Stars pretty much. He is a living cactus who doesn't talk. Spike shoots a cactus ball that splits into 8 spikes in all directions. Your super throws an area of slowing in overtime damage. You can use curveball to hit opponents around walls to stop them from healing. Crow. Crow is based off a famous bird, the blue jay. He throws poison tipped arrows with his main attack, and for his super he throws more poison tipped arrows like the blue jay does. Since he's a bird, he can survive above the showdown smoke. Leon. Leon is a kid who is probably insecure of that garbage cut. Leon shoots 4 fidget spinners that work similarly to Bo's arrows. Leon's super makes you invisible. Ooh. If you get too close to people, you can be seen. Use your clones to trick people into wasting their ammo. Sandy. Sandy is a sleepy boy who's brother to Tara. For his main attack, he throws a bunch of sand which pierces. His super conceals all allies in a massive radius, acting the same as a bush. For example, if you attack, they can see you for a split second, and the vision gear works against the storm. His attack actually has a pattern to it, the leftmost being the shortest, while the rightmost is the longest. Or vice versa, I forget. Amber. Amber is a hot AF. See what I did there? Lady who is a fire breather. That's crazy. Now imagine if she messes up. Amber shoots a constant stream of fire at long range that pierces. And the super, that's just straight arson. You throw a bottle of oil that bursts onto the ground. You shoot it and it sets on fire and breaks bushes and burns people alive. If an opponent gets hit, they get set on fire. Like that orphanage. What? Meg. Meg is actually like 20 some years old, surprisingly. She's not trusted to work with Max and Surge when it comes to hero work, but she's very intelligent. She has 2 forms. First is the robot Rob, which sprays a ton of low damage lasers. Rob acts the same as a normal brawler, except after he's destroyed, he turns into the base Meg, who fires 2 little lasers with her attack. This form is super weak. Rob's super swings a massive sword similar to BB's attack, and Meg's form super turns her back into Rob after a short delay, which can be interrupted. Meg doesn't really deal that much damage in her mech form and should primarily be used on control. Surge. Surge is a refurbished beverage machine who shoots energy drinks to kill you. He's also like hundreds of feet tall. Surge's basic attack shoots forward and splits into 2 when hitting an enemy. Your super makes you jump and land with knockback, but also upgrading you. Your first upgrade makes you faster, the second gives you more range, and the final one makes your basic attack split into 6 shots instead of 2. If you're ever playing Surge in Brawl Ball and the opponent is right in front of the goal, do not jump onto them. Stop! Jester. Jester is a jester who annoys Mandy to the point where she tries to end his life. He has 4 stages to his attack. The first is shooting 1 bell all the way to 3 unless using a star power where it becomes 4. Her super, on the other hand, is randomly selected from an explosion, a stun, a slowing area, a poison cloud, and a heal. There are various different combos Jester can use to get maximum value on an enemy. Cordelius. Cordelius is just a little gardener. Oh, so cute. I bet he isn't planting anything bad. No. For his attack, he shoots 2 mushrooms in quick succession, but his super is where it gets interesting. He throws a big boy mushroom at the enemy, which transports both him and them into the Shadow Realm, which puts both of you in a 1v1 situation that puts Cordelius at a slight advantage unless he's using a star power or hypercharge. Be sure to use his silencing gadget right before you throw someone into the realm, so the effect lingers over. Kit. Kit is a movie star who's never given the respect as an actor he deserves, rather for his kitty cat looks. Aw, meow meow meow. He attacks in a cone shape, dealing moderate damage, while his super allows him to jump onto an enemy to stun them as well for a few seconds, or an ally to heal them and shoot lobbing projectiles. Kit should almost never be used to assassinate brawlers, as it leaves him extremely open and vulnerable when on top of an enemy, usually leading to both of your deaths. Draco. Draco rides around in one of those stupid inflatable Halloween costumes and plays an electric guitar. His attack is similar to Astronita, where it shoots in a straight line, piercing enemies. Though if it hits an enemy at the tip of his attack, it deals double damage. Once supering, he transforms and can shoot a large wave of constant damage like Amber, though it doesn't pierce. Supering again brings him back to his cosplaying self. After using his uppercut gadget, Draco has enough time to position himself in a way to deal double damage pretty easily. Thank you to Blizzard for sponsoring this video.